A boy was given a mysterious cassette recorder by his grandfather. It came from the attic and was extremely old, having no brand or serial number. But when the boy pressed record, he heard voices. Not the kind you could hear by holding your ear up to a radio. Then he played it back and heard his voice asking the question. But right after it, another voice. Yes, we're here. Yes, we're here. Over the next few days, he recorded more messages. You're not alone. One voice said, keep recording. Another urged. But were they trying to help him or warn him? Why won't you leave me alone? Why won't you just go away? As he fell asleep, he heard scratching sounds, like fingernails on wood. Then he heard his own voice again, this time begging for help. But that wasn't possible. He was sleeping. How could he have been talking? In the morning, exhausted and terrified, he decided to get rid of it. She took it home, planning to restore it. When she plugged it in and pressed play, she heard a young boy's voice say, is anyone here? He threw the recorder in the attic, the same place where he got it. The voice was filled with terror, like he was screaming for his life, seemingly coming from nowhere. A cold wind blew through the room, extinguishing the candles on his birthday cake, which had been sitting on his desk. And on the cake, the candle spelled out his name. But the wind had blown some of the letters off, and now it said his name backwards. But the most terrifying part, he wasn't alone in bed when he made the recording. These voices seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. At first it sounded like radio static, but if so, why? Why him? He was just an ordinary kid who liked playing video games and hanging out with his friends. Then he began to make out hushed whispers in what sounded like French, German, and Japanese. Then he heard a woman sobbing in what he assumed was English. And in the morning, he would listen to what he had recorded while he slept. He heard footsteps in his room, someone breathing heavily, things moving around. One time he heard two people talking. Did you bring it? One of them asked. Yeah, I brought it, came the reply. Are you sure this is the place? Yeah, it's gotta be. This is where they told me to bring it. Then the voices faded away. She said, you have to stop. You can't do this anymore. He stopped the tape and pressed play. All he heard was static. Was his mind playing tricks on him? Had he imagined the whole thing? He had to find out. So he recorded something. Is anyone here? He asked. He started keeping the recorder on at night, falling asleep with it beside him. But who were they? What did they bring? And why was he hearing these conversations? Was the recorder somehow reaching into his dreams and recording them? As the weeks passed, he became obsessed with the recorder and with finding out what the voices wanted. He found out who owned the recorder before him. The last owner, a girl about his age, had disappeared. The police suspected her parents, but they had disappeared too, along with several others who had owned the recorder going back decades. Then one night, he heard his own voice on the tape, saying things that he never said. The next night, he left the recorder on again, but this time he put it under his pillow. When he got up, he found that the recorder had somehow rewound the tape, making the scratching sounds and his voice begging for help. That night, he didn't sleep a wink, sitting in the dark, listening to the recorder. Years later, a young woman was rummaging through her grandfather's things in the attic when she found a dusty, old recorder.